In the ever-evolving world of reality television, where alliances shift like sand and emotions are often fleeting, few stories have managed to etch themselves into the hearts of viewers quite like the journey of sweet Guluva and Ashley Ogle. Their connection, born under the watchful eyes of millions, blossomed into something so raw, so genuine, that it transcended the confines of the Big Brother Mzansi house and became a cultural moment. From the moment they first locked eyes, there was a spark, subtle, unspoken, but undeniable. Sweet, with his quiet strength and introspective nature, seemed to find a mirror in Ashley, whose warmth and emotional intelligence brought light into every room she entered. They didn't rush into anything. There were no grand declarations or over-the-top gestures. Instead, their bond unfolded like a slow-burning novel, each chapter more compelling than the last. In a house where every move is scrutinized and every relationship questioned for authenticity, Sweet and Ashley stood apart. Their connection wasn't born out of strategy or convenience. It was rooted in shared glances during late-night conversations, in the way they instinctively sought each other out during moments of tension, and in the comfort they found in each other's presence. Ashley, ever intuitive, seemed to understand Sweet in a way no one else did. She never tried to change him or pull him into the spotlight. Instead, she created a space where he could be vulnerable, where he could speak without fear of judgment. And Sweet, in turn, offered Ashley a kind of emotional safety that's rare in a game built on uncertainty. Their relationship wasn't perfect. No real one ever is. There were disagreements, moments of doubt, and the ever-present pressure of the game. But what made their bond so compelling was how they navigated those challenges. They didn't perform for the cameras. They didn't try to convince anyone of their love. They simply lived it, day by day, with honesty and grace. When Ashley's name was called during that fateful eviction night, the air in the house shifted. It wasn't just another contestant leaving. It was the unraveling of a bond that had become the emotional heartbeat of the season. Sweet's reaction was immediate and visceral. He didn't try to hide his pain. He didn't retreat into stoicism. He wept. Tears streamed down his face as he sat in stunned silence, the weight of Ashley's absence settling over him like a storm cloud. Housemates tried to console him, but there was a hollowness in his eyes that words couldn't reach. For Sweet, Ashley wasn't just a partner in the game. She was his anchor, his confidant, his safe space. That night, the house felt colder. The laughter was more forced. Even the games and tasks seemed to lose their luster. Sweet moved through the days with a quiet melancholy, his usual calm now tinged with sorrow. He still participated, still showed up, but there was a part of him that had left with Ashley. What made their story even more powerful was what happened after Ashley's eviction. In a world where reality TV romances often fizzle out once the cameras stop rolling, Sweet and Ashley chose to keep writing their story. They didn't make grand promises or orchestrate media spectacles. Instead, they reaffirmed their love in the most sincere way possible, by continuing to show up for each other. Ashley, now outside the house, spoke with tenderness and pride about Sweet. She didn't dwell on the pain of leaving or the unfairness of the game. Instead, she focused on the beauty of what they had built and the hope of what could still be. Her messages were filled with warmth, with gratitude, and with a quiet certainty that their bond was real. And Sweet, still inside, carried her memory like a flame. On Valentine's Day, he shared a message that left viewers in tears. It wasn't poetic or rehearsed. It was simple, heartfelt, and true. He spoke of love not as a fleeting emotion, but as a choice, a commitment to keep loving, even in absence. What set Sweet and Ashley apart wasn't just their chemistry or their emotional depth. It was the way they made people feel. Viewers didn't just watch their story, they felt it. They saw themselves in the quiet moments, in the shared laughter, in the tears. They rooted for them not because they were perfect, but because they were real. Social media lit up with support. Fans created montages, wrote poems, and flooded timelines with messages of love and admiration. People who had never met them felt invested in their journey. They weren't just housemates. They were symbols of hope, of authenticity, of love that defies the odds. Even former contestants and celebrities weighed in, praising the couple for their sincerity and emotional maturity. In a season filled with drama and spectacle, Sweet and Ashley offered something different, something grounding. They reminded everyone that even in the most chaotic environments, love can still bloom. When the season ended and Sweet finally walked out of the house, the moment everyone had been waiting for arrived. The reunion between him and Ashley wasn't flashy. There were no fireworks or choreographed embraces. Just two people, standing face to face, letting their eyes say what words couldn't. They hugged, and for a moment, the world seemed to pause. It was a hug that held weeks of longing, of unspoken words, of dreams deferred. And in that embrace, everything made sense. The pain, the waiting, the uncertainty, it had all led to this. They spoke softly, laughed gently, and held hands like it was the most natural thing in the world. There was no need for explanations or justifications. Their love had already spoken volumes. Since the show, Sweet and Ashley have continued to nurture their relationship with the same care and intentionality that defined their time in the house. They've chosen to move in together, not as a publicity stunt, but as a step toward building a life rooted in trust and shared values. They've been deliberate about their choices, choosing privacy over spectacle, substance over show. They share glimpses of their life, cooking together, taking walks, supporting each other's dreams, but they never overshare. They protect what they've built, knowing how rare and precious it is. Their love isn't about grand gestures. It's in the way Sweet looks at Ashley when she speaks, in the way Ashley reaches for his hand when he's quiet. It's in the everyday moments, the grocery runs, the late-night talks, the quiet mornings. It's in the decision to keep choosing each other, day after day. In a world that often celebrates the loudest voices and the flashiest moments, Sweet and Ashley's story is a reminder of the power of quiet love. Of love that doesn't need to be shouted from rooftops to be real. Of love that is patient, kind, and deeply rooted. They've shown that vulnerability is strength, that emotional honesty is beautiful, and that true connection can't be manufactured. They've reminded us that love isn't about perfection. It's about presence, about showing up even when it's hard, about holding space for each other's growth, pain, and joy. Their story matters because it's real, because it's rare, because it gives hope to those who've been hurt, who've doubted, who've wondered if love like that still exists. As the dust settles on the season of Big Brother Mzansi, one thing is clear: Sweet and Ashley have left a legacy. Not just as contestants, but as people. As a couple who dared to be vulnerable in a space that often rewards performance. As individuals who chose love, even when it wasn't easy. They've inspired conversations about emotional intelligence, about healthy relationships, about the kind of love we all deserve. They've become role models, not because they tried to be, but because they lived their truth. And as fans continue to follow their journey, one thing remains certain: their story is far from over. It's just beginning. And if the past is any indication, it's going to be a beautiful one. Thank you for watching.